Hello from Miss Milkyface. She just had her bottle. She got milk all over her face, and she's gonna rub it all over me. Ah, the joys of bottle babies. And here's my two little nuggets. Hi, guys. You twinning today? Oh, we got a pooper. And what else we got going on? All the babies were sleeping. We are having one of those, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself every freaking video. One of those weird weather days where for 3 minutes it's sunshine and warm, and for the next 3 minutes it's overcast and cold. You guys coming over to say hi? So we are just relaxing. I came down to the barn to feed Miss Lady. Yeah, have you wiped all your milk off on me now? You feeling better? She's still my little snuggle bug, which will remain until I start weaning her, in which case then she'll start hating me. It's always a cycle. I've been there. My feelings won't be hurt. Ah, sweet girl. So yeah, I got down here and everybody was dozing and napping, and the big girls were grazing out in the pasture, and then they came in to see me. So they're up here now. So I thought I'd sit down at the bottom of the baby pasture and see if they all came to visit, but nope. So hey, if you're new here, thanks for being here. I'm Pam. This is Racing for Home Farm, and the animals rule the schedule, and so I just try and keep up. It doesn't work very well, I can assure you of that. Nothing here is scripted. Everything is unplanned, and sort of you get what you get. And yeah, the animals are cute, so it makes up for it. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit of action, aren't we? Not much, but a little bit. Let's see if we can stir everybody up. They really are in siesta mode. It's kind of been really funny. They were, you know, when they're really little, when they're 1 week old, 2 week old, 3 week old, they're bouncing everywhere. They're flying off the walls. They're jumping on everything. They're jumping on top of their moms. They're doing all sorts of nonsense. Then they move into more goaty behavior, and they start to play King of the Mountain, King of the Stump in this case, along with headbutting and pushing each other around. And now they've moved into more of that mature stage, and they're not mature by any means. Like these guys, the oldest ones are, you know, going on 9 weeks old. So they're not mature by any means, but they've moved into this stage of taking afternoon naps. They run back and forth real hard, and then they're done. They're doing a little bit more tag, a little bit more gamification, I would call it, of what they're doing. And of course, it's spring now, and when it is a little bit warmer, the buggies are out, so everybody is itchy. Nobody has critters, let's just be clear. 1, goats aren't really susceptible to fleas. 2, they are susceptible to lice, and lice certainly do make them itchy, but nobody has lice. I've been there, I've done that. I know how to look for it. I know how to treat it. I don't ever want to have to do it again. So we do, you know, very similar to flea and tick, we do preventative for lice because, oh my gosh, it's such a disaster to have to deal with lice. And lice are species specific, so they're not lice that can transfer to humans. They're not lice that will transfer to any of the other animals, and that would include Mr. Miles, who's hanging out in his flower patch. But yeah, I mean, it's no fun. So when we had lice, and I brought it home from a show, which just sucks, to be perfectly clear. Unfortunately, somebody, you know, and it's natural, it happens. I don't blame the breeder, other than perhaps not noticing and opting to not bring their animals. But it's not something that is a result of bad husbandry. Let me put it that way. It can happen at any time in any herd. They're just a naturally occurring critter, and you want to make sure, if you can, that you're preventative and you're protected against it. But at any rate, brought it home from a show, which unfortunately for me, since it was my first time ever dealing with it, I didn't notice, and so it spread pretty much to the whole herd. So how do you treat? And very similar to flea and tick treatment for dogs and cats, there's a topical that you use, and that topical addresses the adult lice, but it doesn't address lice eggs, and it doesn't address the environment. And so here's what ends up happening. Just in case you were curious and also wondering why I'm so adamant about trying never to have it again. So you treat with the topical, everybody, whole herd, including the donkeys. And even though lice are species specific, it is possible that they will, instead of dying on the goat, right, they will jump to the donkey for a couple of days. They don't really do anything, but they sort of starve for a couple of days, and then they transfer back to the goat after the topical has run its course. So is that rare to happen? Sure. Is it possible? Sure. They could also theoretically hang out on the pigs, although more likely than not, they would go to the furry animal. So yeah. So you end up treating everybody with fur, which that in and of itself, other than the expense, isn't bad. Then you have to wait 2 weeks for the topical to run its course, strip the entire stall completely, not just clean it like I do. I mean, I strip it, I call it stripping because I get all of the bedding out of it and everything else. But when we say strip for this, we're talking like every flake, every straw, everything that has fabric, anything that could house an egg. Strip, wash, spray down with a permethrin spray, right? That's a standard bug spray. It's non-toxic. Well, it's not. It is toxic, but it's non-toxic to the animals. So spray that all down. Meanwhile, the animals, of course, are out of the stall, right? And you have to leave them out for a little while to let that spray sink in to do its job, right? Because you're trying to kill the next generation, so to speak. Then you treat with the topical again that same day that you do your stall cleaning. And again, the whole point is to try and break the cycle, break that generational cycle so that they don't lay eggs. So now you have these fresh hatches that are not quite old enough to lay eggs, and the hope is that you're killing them as they're hatching, right? So stall clean and treated, animals treated. So now we're in week 3, and you strip the stall again, fully treat it again. Then another week to allow for that second week of topical. And this time you strip the stall again. So that's the third time around. And you wash every single goat on the same day. And that's how you make it completely go away. You don't perpetuate the cycle. You don't have a continuous flood of, yeah, everybody's manageable, but somebody always has a little bit of lice. You really have to eradicate it, and it is not easy. It's like, taking time off work type of day. And it's a twofer at that point, because honestly, I mean, again, my herd is tiny, right? At that time, thankfully, I didn't have any babies, so really just had my adults. So figure I had 12, maybe 13 goats at the time. But if you've watched any of my grooming videos, you know that bathing isn't a 5-minute task. it's a 30-35 minute task for each goat. Multiply that and you understand the amount of hours you're putting into it, right? It's a full day. So at any rate, that is the bane of lice. And it can happen at any time to anybody. Like I said, it's not about husbandry. It's not about keeping things clean. It just happens to be if the creatures find you, right? And so by doing preventative medication, by doing, a spot check every time I groom the goats, we make sure that that stays in check and we don't have lice. So all this itchy stuff is just that. It's itchy, it's pollen, it's hair. They're growing hair, and if you've ever shaved and then grown hair, you know that when you're growing hair, it's itchy. So they're itchy from that. They're itchy from, just being baby goats in the spring. Oh, pee, thank you. We've got bobby socks hanging here. So yeah, that's what's going on. And it's Friday afternoon for me. So I am looking at what I'm going to do for the weekend. It's Mother's Day weekend on top of it. So, my Sunday is a little bit dead, unfortunately, in terms of being able to really get chores done. So I think what's going to happen. Hi, girls. Did you come up to visit? I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to try and there is no we, there is me. I say it every time. I'm probably going to try and on Saturday get the stalls cleaned and do some grooming. So I'll probably do the easier grooms, maybe the two older gals, even though I said I was going to leave Fanta for last. But if I can bang out Fanta, Emma, JC, and Lotus kind of all in one day, which is a lot, but is doable because they're not terribly matted. Tonka. He is barking at Bobby Socks, who, by the way, will give him the stare down and encourage him to bark at her and get in all sorts of trouble. She could care less. He can't get to her. He wants to get to her and round her up because, she doesn't belong in the goat pen, according to him. But he's learning. Sophie is leaving. She's apparently done. She's going back to the house all by herself. And she's going to go wait at the back door to be let in, which is also pretty funny. And that is the chaos that's happening now. So I think I'm going to end it there and let you get back to your normal daily programming. And I'm going to get back to my normal daily programming. And until next time, there's work to be done. Bye for now.